Okay, so this is a second video comparing ChatGPT versus Google Bard. I think the first one was actually a little bit blurry. Um, but again, just as on the left-hand side, we've got Bard. This is the light-colored version. I can't change the coloring to dark, I don't think. I've looked around, but it doesn't seem obvious to be able to change the coloring to dark. Here we've got a dark coloring. It's actually got a dark mode in on ChatGPT. So I guess that's one victory, 1 point to ChatGPT. It's got a dark and a light coloring. Also, we've got a chat history over here, and we don't actually have a chat history in the same way, although there is a Bard activity. If I click on it, it actually launches something in a new separate web page, which I can't actually show here, but it has got a list of all of the questions. So it's got a list of all the questions, but it doesn't look like that you can click into them. So there is a fundamental history, but not really a history where you've got the chats. Whereas in here, you can see, like, I've obviously used ChatGPT a lot because it's come out earlier in. This is the first day of Google Bard, at least for me. Google Bard is being rolled out. So this is kind of like my first day on it. But yeah, you've got a history thing here, which is quite nice. So, I've tried to combine columns of probably of a pandas data frame. I've done some testing to, like, some even numbers, the Colac conjecture in Python, trying to do it a different way than what I did when I wrote the book on Python coding. So just that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to do is actually do a test, and I did it before, so I'll try and do it again as well. Here I need to click new chat, otherwise if I do the test here, it will use all of the info above as part of its communication. We don't want to do that. We want to start it completely fresh because it uses pre-used text, so we want to make them both equal. So I'm going to set up a new chat in ChatGPT, and in Google Bard we've got the same, and I'm going to do I did this before, so I'll do it again. For loop, just something really simple in Python, and I'll take that same piece of text so that it's exactly the same on a like by like basis, and I will print a for loop in Python there on ChatGPT, and I'll run them both. What actually happened last time was ChatGPT, it starts doing its writing first. Google does a lot of thinking, and but then Google actually comes out with the answer earlier than ChatGPT. So, just for want of a better thing, I'll start both of them pretty much at the same time. And you can see there's GPT automatically goes into the typing sequence and Google's thinking, but then bang, all of a sudden, Google comes out with its list of answers first. So that's a win for Google in terms of speed, whereas ChatGPT is still going on, it's chugging on. But it looks like ChatGPT is putting a bit more, and we did see that before. One thing that we notice is that ChatGPT has put the outputs for the snippets of code that it's given. And the other thing that's blindingly obvious, for a lot of people who do coding, who do like the color linting on the color, syntax highlighting, Google has none of it. It's just plain black and white text, whereas GPT gives good syntax highlighting, so that's quite nice. Like the integers here are all in red, the keywords are in blue, and the function here, the print statement, that's in orange. So that's quite nice from Chat GPT. So that's a second win for Chat GPT there. Also, ChatGPT offers the copy code, which is extremely useful because while it's actually writing text, you can just copy code and kind of like paste it into your code, especially when you're going fast. So whereas Google here, it looks like you just have to copy and paste. So copy and paste. So that's a third win, I'm going to say, for ChatGPT. And this is, by the way, is a GPT version 3. I haven't upgraded. This is the basic version, so maybe there's even more. Now let's just have an extra look. We did have the actual code itself we got for variable in sequence, and that's what we're looking for, and then a block of code. And then here we have got for variable in sequence, and it's actually, I'm going to say it's slightly better because we've got statements to be executed, so you could actually literally copy this out and paste it. Whereas if you copied this and pasted it into into your editor, variable is not defined, in these two angled brackets, and neither is sequence. Whereas here, these things this would actually work. It's copy it and pastable. So that's one thing. The example down here, the list, and that's very equivalent to this list here. ChatGPT, funnily enough, ChatGPT last time used strings in a list, but this time it's using my list and put numbers in a list, but it's actually done for num in my list. It's a bit more user friendly. Last time it did like word and words or something for word in words, which is quite nice. So it seemed to have twice kind of, this is a second time, just a tad better, but it's marginal at that point. List is a keyword here, so I would definitely be using my underscore list or something else. I would not use list. So that I'm going to say is poor. Copying and pasting that will not be good because you'll overwrite your keyword in Python. So just spotted that as an error. So there's quite a few things here that you can't just copy and paste this out. So not amazed on that front from Bard. I think I'm going to say that actually ChatGPT wins in the sense that you can copy and paste directly in. Looks like it will certainly give you less errors. And that's kind of like it on that front. Then what else was there in there? Let's see if there's other stuff. No. We've got view other drafts here. So Google gives the other drafts. So different versions of what might be answered. And here, for example, we've got a dictionary. Whereas ChatGPT only gives you one version and offers you a regenerate button. So I'd have to hit regenerate. We don't have a regenerate button here, but we've got 3 different versions of what one might expect. This basic example here will work. So these basic examples do work. Maybe this is just the general syntax actually. So maybe that is fine and acceptable for Google Bard. Just let's have a look down at the code, see if it's this time it hasn't done a list here. It's actually it's done D for dictionary and an S for an S for a set. So the other options are actually showing you how to do the same thing for a dictionary and for a set and actually for a string as well. So actually I'm going to say on that front that Bard has kind of like one handle there, so it's kind of like 3-2 to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT doesn't do that. I might get it on the regenerate response. We'll see what happens next time. In fact, I think I've kind of like finished the comparison more or less. So I will hit regenerate just to put them on an equal footing. And it comes out with more stuff, and I don't know if it'll be different. Maybe if it throws in a dictionary, then we'll call it a victory for ChatGPT. Otherwise, well, it's still actually going to be a small victory for ChatGPT, just because it was winning 3-2 before this. So I don't think there's anything else to say other than, well, there was one thing I think somewhere, but you can click on Google it, but Google it doesn't work. More, so you can copy your stuff. I did see in an earlier one when I asked the question, they actually put a link in, but I don't see that now. So, oh yeah, here you go. There's a link up over here on this one. Is there a link on this one? Funnily enough, here we've got on Bard, we've actually got this for loop, and I've just noticed it's got the output of the code is, and then it doesn't actually output the example of the code, and that would actually print for element in 1, 2, 3, print element break. Maybe it does print actually 1. I think it probably would do actually, so that's quite good. That's fine. This one here has a link on it, so you can click on it, and that link does actually work. It's launching in a different browser for me, so that link works. This Google It doesn't work, but this link works. Presumably Google It will work at some point. But I think really you'd want to know the sources rather than just Googling it, because you could have Googled it anyway. And yeah, and Googling it isn't really the whole process of an AI language model. So I think that's basically it. It's got to be a small. It does redress a bit having the link in, although the link wasn't in the first document. I had to sort of like navigate up here for the draft, so it's kind of like a hidden. We'll give it a half point, so you know, Bard gets up to 2.5. And the link actually is in draft number 2. Last time I tried to run it was in draft number 3. So I think ChatGPT is, and this is ChatGPT 3, not ChatGPT 4. So ChatGPT 3 is probably the slight winner over Google Bard, at least at this point. It had a few key features, syntax highlighting, coloring. At least that was for you know, a very fundamental test on Python code. Syntax highlighting, dark mode, being able to copy the code, having a history of chats down here, so you can sort of like go to other previous chats and sort of like pick them up. And Google Bard had a couple of things that were nice, where you had a link to your source, although there was only one link and it was hidden. And it did give you more examples, so it was a bit more complete in terms of its answering. I guess on both of them, you really the actual question is you could ask a follow-up question. For example, over here, if I go to view other, I'm on draft 1, but I could put can you show example with output over there, and have to hit control return for some reason, whereas here I just can hit return. So yeah, I mean, it does get you can prompt it for the output. Maybe, you know, that gets it the half point back and is closer on an equal footing. But actually part of all of the language models anyway is kind of like how the user deals with it, and it's like how the user asks the questions in the right type of way to navigate the model to get a bit better. So but nonetheless, we still don't have the highlighting, which would be a syntax highlighting, which would be a bit annoying, and also the copy feature would be quite useful, because we tend to we do, like, part of our stuff is to copy and paste some code if it's workable. There's no point having it and retyping it out. So yeah, this select copy would be the method here, so not as good. We can edit in place here. Can you edit in here? No, you can't. You can edit in other things, but not in this ChatGPT version that I've got here. But here you can edit the text, so maybe even, I don't know, with can you show 2 examples with output? Let's just see what happens over there, and hit run and hit update. And it's doing, yeah, there you go. So although that just looks like, no, it has, it's modified the actual code. Sure, here are 2 examples with outputs. When I see the outputs, I wonder if these are can you show 2? I see the outputs, but I don't see, unless these 2 are the actual things here for iron range 11 and list here. So what it's done is it's cheekily, someone might not like this, it's done them 1 2 3 4 5, and then it's done all of the strings of the hello world here. So here are the 2 outputs with the 2 examples with output. So it's referring to the above examples. You kind of like the example, at least on the GPT one, the examples here, and then the output is below, and then you get a description of the output. So yeah, they're kind of like equal, but ChatGPT slightly winning. We'll keep testing. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, do subscribe as well. I think I'll put a subscribe button on this one.